Okay, so I'm on my way to bed. And I see fellow a fellow spiritualist. And this spiritualist, I may take off these lashes. Give me one moment. I think I'm just gonna take these motherfuckers off because I'm on my way to bed. And what I gotta talk about is something serious. And ooh. Give me one. Give me one damn minute, honey. Ooh. Ooh, that feels so good. Woo! So, okay, wow, the screen is cracked. So listen, and honey, I got this phone. I must be switching to this phone right here, honey. But anyway, so I'm looking at this fellow spiritual, well, he's a spiritual being, but he does not do spiritual videos. He does videos on definitely your soul experiences. We'll say that. And he was kind of pointing out something that me and a friend of mine was talking about a few days ago. There's a YouTuber, and I'm not going to say their name, who everyone's been talking about, right? And somehow, some way, this keeps coming up for me, and I keep trying to ignore it, but it keeps coming up for me. And I hope that people can hear me out there. But it keeps coming up for me that, oh, that feels so good, honey. Hold on. That motherfucking glue was itching my damn eye. There we go. So it keeps coming up for me that this YouTuber is hopping on the bandwagon of things. Like there's different scandals that this YouTuber is attaching themselves to. And one of them is they jumped on the bandwagon of another YouTuber being slandered, whatever the case. We all seen it. We all know what it is. And now there's a series of videos being released on electromagnetic fields and the astral realms and the chakras. And I always wanted to know, people who are Afro spiritual based and or African spiritual based, should I say, not Afro spiritual based, because Afro is a community of people and African is more like a race of people. So I'm always curious to why these African spiritual based people, who are not African, by the way, who may have African ancestry, and I said may, I use the key term may very loosely, use a lot of these words that are not African language. They're not the tongue of Africa. They're not Swahili. They're not any of those languages spoken over there. There's many languages, honey. But they use these words and yet they put down certain cultures. And it amazes me to see them use these terms. And like I said, they're not African. But going into this, what got me wanting to do this video is that I get a lot of students that hit me up. They're always asking me questions about certain topics. Astral travels, the dimensions, and all that stuff. I'm not going to go too much into that because it's about 3. I'm saying 11 because this thing says 11 on here. It is 4:03. I'm going to try to make this within 20 minutes. A lot of stuff that I'm talking about in this video is in my Art of Conjuring class, which we're dealing with energy, that is tapping into energies and frequencies and vibrations, and how to utilize the tools that are around you. So this person talked about what I'm gonna speak on. This person talked about how to contact deceased people. And this person said that contacting, or the sixth sense, is the combination of, let me see if I get that cleared up. There we go. This person said that the sixth sense is a combination of the 5 other senses: tasting, hearing, smelling, seeing, and feeling. And I hope I said all the senses. And he said you have to tap into all of them. And then the sixth sense is seeing these people, seeing these things. Or he said something about the sixth sense is psychic power. When in fact, anyone who knows about the elements, there's 5 elements. 5 elements is earth, air, fire, water. And the 5th one is spirit. And spirit is the combination of all, which means that spirit has all of these elements in it, right? Okay. So going into that, the sixth sense, ESP, is a combination of all senses. It's beyond, okay? The sixth sense is beyond. So in the sixth sense, you have the ability to see things that other people cannot see. So you see beyond what is seen with the physical eye, right? You have the ability to taste things that are beyond what you can feel or you can taste in the physical world, right? In the sixth sense, you have the ability to hear things that the physical ears cannot see. So the sixth sense is actually a merging of all of these senses together, and it opens up the door to something. So think of the sixth sense as a doorway to get somewhere, right? An extension of something. That's what's called ESP, extra sensory perception. Extra sensory perception. That also has its own meaning. But in this video, it's very interesting that he was saying something about tapping into a deceased loved one by igniting all of the senses. And once again, as I said, everybody does not have the ability to communicate with the deceased. Everybody does not have the ability to see things that are beyond the physical eye. Everybody does not have the ability to hear things beyond the physical ears. So whether or not you take what he's telling you literally, you're not going to be able to interact with your deceased loved one. As I mentioned before, and we'll go over again in the Art of Conjuring, your heart chakra connects you to all things past, present, and future, because everything is stored in your heart chakra. That is the information channel. That is where love is received, love is given. Also going into the realms, you have heaven, earth, and hell. Your chakras are divided into 3. You have 13, but the major ones are 7, divided into 3 different sections. The lower pertaining to hell-like states, the mid being relating to the earth-like states. That's what you're going to do when you're on the earth level. And then the higher ones dealing with heaven, which you ascend once you master all these other chakras or sections. So, like I said, to tap into, because the heart chakra is the last chakra that you deal with before you get into the heavens. In order for you to tap into the energy and the frequency of your family members while they are transitioning and or going to the other side, because they're not fully there. The word dead, as I said before, is to dos, honey, de. It's to split into and or from. It is what it is. If you're into Spanish, de means of, or del is from. So with that being said, in order for you to tap into that, like I say, you have to go into the heart chakra. That's the only sense, and that's the only area that you have to tap into. This is why I say that people who are not connected to your deceased loved ones without your permission cannot. Oh, I'm getting a reading from the mom. I'm getting a reading for. They have to tap into that heart, and they have to be able to open that energy field. going into the spirituals on YouTube, then I'm able to do that because most of the people definitely have blockage there because they're still in the lower self, as I always say. Definitely doing certain things just to get by definitely signifies that you're still in your hell-like state. And that's what you're going to be dealing with when you go as well, because of course your chakras deal with levels of consciousness. So debunking that. He mentioned as one of the ways is to use water, which is it has electromagnetic energy. Using a magnet, placing it in the water, and then using your hands to charge the water because you have magnetic energy, right? Electromagnetic as well. All things that are actually natural has an electromagnetic energy field. To tap into or to transmit energy, water and magnets are not needed. In fact, that is probably a negative and positive ion or charge at the same damn time, and you may not actually even see any results. To simply manifest and or to tap into a different realm, the easiest thing to do is to get you a gemstone or a crystal. Anybody knows that the earth has an electromagnetic field, which protects us from the radiation of the sun and all these other things that are out there that you cannot see, radiation, all that other good stuff. These gemstones have colors which connect to your chakras in your body. You have red stones that deal with your root chakra. You have yellow stones or orange stones that deal with your sacral chakra. You have yellow stones that deal with your solar plexus. You have green stones that deal with your heart. You have pink stones that deal with your higher heart, etc., etc., etc. So if you want to tap into another dimension or another realm, all you need is a cute little gemstone to make that possible. Also going into colors. All the colors that you see in this, we have 7 colors. All these other colors you see are a combination of all the 7 colors and or a pre-transition of the colors. These things have vibrations that we're able to tap into because, like I said, going into our chakras. Each color has its own vibration, which allow these energy fields to open up within inside of you, which allows you to access these levels of energies and frequencies. And each level pertains to its own thing. Each level has its own responsibility, has its own assignment. Each chakra has its own level of consciousness and or perception and or awareness, because that's what consciousness is, it's awareness. You do not have to get water. You do not have to get stones. You do not have to get none of those things to access the spirit world. All you need is a stone. This is energy. All you need is yourself, which is a conductor of energy. All you need is a thought, which thoughts is energy. And that's all you need. Going into the astral world, because one of the things that I get asked about a lot is the myth about astral worlds. And basically you're dead because someone, let me brush my teeth. I had some candy before I got up on here. I was on the phone with one of my people, and they were saying that DID and or personality disorder is people acting in different dimensions simultaneously, right? Or simultaneously, or instantaneously at the same time. So one part of them is here, one part of them is another dimension, and they're accessing that here in this dimension. As I said before, each chakra, and you can look this up, there are 7 planes, they say 13, going into the chakras, of existence. The 3rd chakra, which is where your self is governed, you're governed, like that's where you're at. That's your consciousness here. And some people rise up out of that. Okay? Because the solar plexus is the hellish meeting the earth energy. But at that point, you're here to learn how to work in that area. And when you're ready to go and or you become infused with the earth energy or connect to earth energy, you will then operate from your heart chakra. As I said, that is the highest energy on this planet Earth, or should I say Earth levels as far as chakras go and how you relate to it. So if you are saying that someone who has DID, their boy here, girl there, mama there, that you're trying to say, or what that's basically saying, is that they've mastered being here. There's no point in them being here. And I do believe the universe did not make a mistake. You're basically saying that each chakra that they have, they're aware of all the chakras and they're functioning at all the chakras or on all the chakras at the exact same time. And as I said before, through my knowledge, through my experience spiritually, that is impossible. If there's someone going through DID or personality disorder, you can look this up. Between the ages of 2 and 7, you are developing into yourself. You are developing into who you are going to become. And when something traumatic happens or something comes in to tamper with the natural flow of the universe and the natural direction that you're meant to go, something stops and your real self starts to break off into different areas, not dimensions. You're still in the one dimension, but you start breaking off into different areas. And as I said before, how your mind works is it uses, your brain does not work in spaces as all solid matter does not. Okay. Everything is tiny little atoms spinning, and they're spinning so closely together that they appear to be solid. Same thing with your personality and how you identify. So people with DID, it was one person. It is still one person. Something traumatic happened between the ages of 2 and 7. And instead of them letting that go as they got older to where their personality was formed by their experiences as a child, it actually was split up. It was split up. And as they grew older, each fragment of that personality or that one person stayed separated. And the brain just pieced them all together. So that's why they feel like they have alter egos. Because as I said before, we all have egos. You have your lower self. You have your true self, right? Then you have the extension of both. Also going into that Kundalini energy. You see the staff. You see those two snakes slithering through. But either way, anybody who is professing or saying that it is okay to have a DID and that they are doing magic because they're in all these dimensions at one given time, your level of awareness could be that that's what is going on. They're in different dimensions, but I'm beyond that. That is not my level of awareness. That is not my level of experience. And I know that is not true, and I know that's not possible. Going into us extending into the 5th dimension, or many people saying that we are currently in this 5th dimension or the 4th dimension. The term dimension means to split up. It means to separate, to split in two. So in order for us to go into the 5th dimension, 4th dimension, the old self has to die out. Once again, going into the 3rd dimension being your solar plexus, 4th dimension being your heart chakra, 5th dimension being your throat chakra. I mean, let's talk about it. Going into how each chakra connects to a different dimension states that in order for you to be in the 4th or 5th dimension, you have to shed your 3rd dimensional being. You have to go through a dying process. We have not experienced a death. We have not experienced a death collectively. We have not experienced a death collectively spiritually. We have not experienced a death collectively physically. So for those who are just, oh, everything's butterflies and, oh, we're on the 4th and 5th dimension. We're not in the 3rd no more. These are people who have false hopes. They might be drug induced. I don't know, but it sounds crazy. And me being someone who's definitely spiritually open-minded, like I said, it just sounds crazy. And a lot of people are promoting this BS. And it sounds good, but we have not progressed collectively to be in the fourth or fifth dimension. In the third dimension, we're stuck on the physical. In the third dimension, we're stuck on who's black, who's white, who's gay, who's trans, who's a man, who's a woman, why they got blonde hair, why they got blue eyes, why they this, why they that. Moving into the fourth and fifth dimension, you will look beyond the physical. You wouldn't care about the physical. And the last time I checked, there's still a lot of anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-coexisting shit going on anyway. So, I mean, like I said, if it gives you false hope and false dreams that we are in the fourth and fifth dimension, God bless you. Mwah. But the reality of it is that we're not there yet. We got a long way to go. We have a long way to go before we can get to that point. Working with the fourth chakra, that heart area, going into the fourth dimension, we would all have to resonate at that frequency in order to extend into the fifth dimension and so forth and so forth. And even then, you have beings that are gatekeepers to these dimensions, metaphorically and actually speaking. So until these beings come back and or they start to appear and they will be known, everyone will see them, then you know that we're going into the fourth dimension or fifth dimension. As I said, your chakras are the dimensions that they speak of. And yes, the first dimension is the root chakra. Second dimension is the sacral chakra. Third is the solar plexus, etc., etc., etc. So that's what I stopped by here for. Just kind of share a piece of my mind and the bullshit that is going on. People that are acting like they're conscious when they're not conscious and they're still smoking weed and all that stuff. And even going into this individual, he kind of gives me pedophile tease. Like, I wouldn't trust this individual around nobody's kids, nobody's, like, for real. Like, he looked like he's definitely into some weird tea. Even going into his connection, I'm talking about energy, what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing energetically. Lineage-wise, there's something not right there. From the shape of his body, to the proportions of that body, to the way that face is shaped and the way it's built, to a whole bunch of other teas. They say that you're identified through your bones. Your bones. And dental. Those are two things that can identify you. Well, DNA as well, but still. The bones and motherfucking dental. Looking at those bones and the dental, honey, something ain't right there. So, like I said, don't listen to motherfuckers who look like they, or who actually got their knowledge from prison. You know, you have to deal with people who are from these regions who experience or who have experienced what they are living. Or, no, I said that wrong. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm tired. Experienced what they are saying. Not experience what they're living. But experience what they're saying, what they're teaching. Because like I said, a lot of people say that they're Afro-spiritualists, African spiritualists. But I want to know, how do you say chakras are spinning wheel of energy in your tongue? Because you're speaking Sanskrit there, honey. And you know how to speak Sanskrit for as far as spinning wheels, honey. Then let me hear you speak a whole sentence. Honey, no tea, no shade. You know, but like I said, there's a lot of culture appropriating going on. People speaking of history being here and there, and because there was a fire or places were invaded, they don't really have any original magic, so they all have to start that grow by. Every continent have their own magic. Every culture have their own way of magic. And that's how it's always been. That's how it always will be. If you don't know what that magic is, then you don't know your culture. And you are definitely culturally appropriating if you are practicing magic that is not yours from your motherfucking land or the land you claim to be from. Because that's the real tea that's been going on around here. People that are teaching spirituality and there are their own twist to it and makes it seem like it's factual and they experience that. But it's like, how? How? How's that possible? How's that possible for you to experience that? How's it possible for you to go from a felon or real bad criminal and then in a matter of like 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden you've learned a lot? I think that's a microwavable spiritualist. I think that's a instant spiritualist. And we all know that it takes time to get you there. But like I said, that's all I want to talk about. The dimensions, the levels of existence or existing. Yeah, I said it right, existence. And how they relate to you. Going into the astral, like I said, crystals is a way to access the astral realm. They manifest astrally. Okay? So if you have blockage in your root chakra and you're trying to descend, let's just say this, you're trying to descend to a hell-like state of mind, and you have blockage in your root chakra, you can use stones that will help heal that area, which will allow you to be able to descend down to that area whenever you want to, effectively. And the same thing with raising your frequency. In order for you to get into your third eye or your pineal gland, you have to extend out of your lower self. Many people are still in their lower self down here, got you thinking that they're able to tap into their third eye and give you this, and I'm this, I'm that. Girl, bye. If you're able to tap into your third eye, that means you're able to function at a conscious level. And if you're functioning at a conscious level, then why the fuck were you making dumbass decisions? Why? Why? If you are aware, because like I said, chakras and consciousness mean you're aware. When someone says their heart consciousness, their sacral consciousness, or conscious, they're this conscious, they're saying they are aware of these energies. So if you are a conscious individual and you're aware of these energies, then why, what, and when did those things happen? And once again, that goes into possibly being split into different realities, DID. And that's why I sit back and I observe people and I look at people and I look at how they move and how they talk. And I'm sitting here watching them like, this person definitely got something mentally wrong with them. And I know a lot of people will try to pull that exact same card on me and say, well, this bitch got something wrong with this bitch too. Because this bitch was born a man and think that he's a fucking female. But like I said before, I see psychologists, I've seen therapists. There's something called the Harry Benjamin Standard of Care. You can look that up. That's on my birth certificate. And my identification says that I'm female and I have a legal female's name. And it states that, girl, you have to go through a mental evaluation. So regardless of what the physical is saying, my consciousness, my awareness functions and interprets on a female level, regardless of how masculine I am or how masculine anatomically I was born. And as I said before, going into my lineage line, the females are not that feminine in my family. They will definitely put on a dress if they need to, put on some lipstick if they need to, put on some makeup if they need to, but that's not their everyday life. I love being feminine. I love doing my hair. I love putting scents on. I love glamourifying myself. And I definitely love not really glamourifying myself. So it's nothing wrong with me. But because our consciousness is on a different level, or our level of awareness on a different level, you're not going to see it the way I see it. And on top of that, when you lack understanding for yourself, this I always tell my people, know thyself. When you acknowledge of knowing yourself, you perceive in other people what you either see in yourself or you don't see in yourself. That's why bummy people like bummy people. It is what it is. You either like what you see or you don't like what you see. And like I said, if you don't love yourself, you don't like yourself, you're going to see someone else who is living their truth. And you're going to try to be like, bitch, bitch, bitch. But you can't tell me shit about myself, honey. Been here, done that several times. And now I'm here doing this. And I'm living my life. And I'm evolving spiritually. And you're not. So you're still stuck in where you're stuck in at. And you bring out how you're raised. And that's to keep you back. That's your lower self. That's people. When people say I was raised to blah, 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 they're meaning that they're trapped in their lower self. And that's why I always tell people who are part of the LGBT community, especially the T, when people cannot comprehend or see you for who you are, not what they assume you to be, you got to look at their life. And if you don't know them, you have to definitely know that they're coming from a very low place and they're trapped there. Because like I said, when you love yourself and you accept yourself, you understand that, bitch, I'm living my life, that person living their life. As long as they're not inflicting harm onto me, I have no concerns about what they do. Even going in spiritual, like I said, a mundane person who's not religious, who believe in nothing, they should be a little more homophobic and racist than people who are. And like I said, I always try to wrap my brain around conscious, because you're aware. That's a conscious thing. You're aware of something. Conscious people, and maybe you are conscious of the root chakra. And that's like I said, that's where you're stuck at. But how are you conscious and spiritually advanced and spiritually inclined? And you have the ability to open up your Merhava and open up your pineal gland, even going into the ancestor realm. Like people talk about ancestor worship and all that stuff. Do you not know there's energy within your body that allow you to access those energies, whether it is actual or not actual? People say that ancestors doesn't exist and all that good stuff. That's a whole nother thing. But there's points in your body that allow you to have access to that line, to that memory, because it's stored in you. Okay? And people are not really grasping that. But anyway, going into even that, as I said, people talk about magic from a theory point of view. And there's a lot of theorists. There's a lot of theorist spiritualists. I am definitely a practical, and I like other practical beings. And some of the people I've met in the past claim to be practical spiritualists as well. And they're not. Obviously, that's why I don't fuck with them. You cannot combine them and make up your own perception. You have to be one or the other. And a lot of people don't know how to make that transition. They got the theories down, but they've yet to apply these theories to their actual life. They just think about it and speak, well, I don't think that's possible. And I don't think that's that. So you've gone into the fifth dimension. You're aware of the afterlife. You're aware that when you die, or even while you're living, you're just a spirit having an experience here. But you don't understand how it's possible for a spirit to come into one body at any given time and to take on identity in that body for the rest of that life. Even if the identity does not correspond with the physical body that it got, because all spirits are here to experience. It's kind of like being born, no tattoos, and you get a tattoo. It's very similar to that. Not the exact same thing, but very similar. What you do with yourself is what you do with yourself and what you feel connected to. What I do with myself is what I do to myself, what I feel connected to. It's no one's job to take that away from you. So anyway, consciousness is awareness, as I always said, and get to know yourself. Get to know where you're at. Where's your consciousness at? What do you feel connected to? Look up the chakras and get comfortable with it. What do you feel like you resonate with? Because when people say they're kings and queens, that means they operate from their crown. That means they operate from their head, honey. Okay? We can even say this up. If you're operating from this down, you are a peasant and still trying to figure yourself out. When you operate from this up, throat, honey, can we talk about a throat? Honey, Merhaba, third eye. Come on, crown. All that other tea, honey. Soma, etc., etc. When you start getting into all that tea, I think the soma's here. But anyway, right here, hairline. When you start operating there, then like I said, you could be called a king or a queen. If you're still wrestling with yourself and your flesh is still trying to figure out, well, I'm a woman. I'm a this, I'm a that. Okay, honey. I won't sit here and say that I'm that, honey. I'm a spirit. Anyway, that's all. 28, 38, listed 8 at gmail.com. Why did I put that in my mouth? I'm sorry. I love hot tamales. I hope y'all were able to hear me. If not, I'll do another video later.